This training tape will cover court coverage and positioning. There are 7 plays. Play 1. This play was ruled incidental contact, but when we break down the play, court positioning likely had an impact on the ruling. Beginning with the trail official, his initial starting position begins above the 28-foot mark. From there, he accepts a straight-line position on a competitive matchup in his PCA and doesn't position adjust as the play moves toward the basket. As the play develops, he stays stationary above the 28-foot mark and never closes down toward the end line to improve his angle. This play happens right in front of the lead, but does he get the best angle? He's in the B, closed down position, but doesn't mirror the ball toward the A position when the ball moved toward the sideline. This puts him in a bad position when the play moves toward the basket. Because of that, he doesn't see the start of the drive to the basket. He only sees the tail end of the play. If lead officials get in the habit of moving back to the A position toward the sideline when the ball is wide, it will allow them to see the whole play. Lead officials should maintain their cone of vision toward the lane area, as it will help them identify secondary defenders. In addition, if the lead is wide, it will lengthen the play by allowing the lead to pick up the players earlier when they enter their primary coverage area. In short, this is a reminder that angles contribute to accuracy. This missed ruling may have been the result of poor positioning. Play 2. In this play, white number 14 dribbles into the midcourt area, defended by blue number 12. A screen is set by white number 32, who then rolls to the basket. This is what we call a two-official play, one that requires both the setter and trail to work together. As the dribbler moves into the center's PCA, the center correctly accepts the ball handler-defender matchup with secondary awareness on the screener and defender. Because the dribbler isn't closely guarded early in the play, the center can sequence the play and stay with the screen longer before shifting back to the ball handler-defender when that matchup becomes more competitive. The trail correctly shifts attention to the screening action. Here, the trail's primary responsibility is the screener and defender with secondary coverage of the ball and dribbler. Sometimes, ruling on off-ball contact outside your primary coverage area, like the trail does on this play, is needed in screening situations. Both officials work together beautifully to cover the play. Midcourt screens often demand shared coverage, teamwork guided by primary and secondary responsibilities. Ultimately, two officials sharing one play ensure complete coverage and help officials get the play right. Play 3. In this clip, white number 34 receives a pass near the top of the free throw lane area. The center official adjusts perfectly to get an open look on the matchup. As white number 34 turns and dribbles toward the trail, contact occurs, and both officials sound their whistles. This is a double whistle. And based on where the play occurred, the trail has the primary coverage. The trail had picked up the closely guarded count and had the good angle as the dribbler came into his primary coverage area. However, the trail initially signals with an open palm and most likely was going to rule a traveling violation, but sees the center with a stop-the-clock foul signal with a clenched fist. The trail makes eye contact with the center and then defers to the center, who correctly identifies the blocking foul. Both officials show excellent communication discipline, holding their stop-the-clock signals and making proper eye contact. Double whistles do occur in areas where coverage areas intersect, and generally the official in their primary coverage area should usually take the ruling. In this case, the trail must have sensed the center saw why the ball handler fell to the floor and properly deferred to the center, who stepped in with the correct foul call. That's textbook teamwork, trust, communication, and discipline in action. Double whistles aren't about who blows first. They're about getting the play right. Play 4. The contact on this play was ruled to be legal, which may be an indication the trail may not have seen the whole play. In this play, the trail must stay with the shooter. That is, see the shooter up, see the shooter come down, see the shooter's next move, then turn their attention to the rebound activity. Here, after the three-point try, the trail's eyes appears to shift to follow the ball. Instead of closing down toward the end line, he steps back toward the division line. The shooter appears to land cleanly, then falls, even appearing to hook the defender's arm a bit on the way down. This could have been a flop by the shooter. It could also have been a defensive foul. Regardless of the ruling, if the shooter and defender end up on the floor, officials need to know why. Officials shouldn't rush to get to rebounding coverage, especially in a crew of 3. When the shot starts in your PCA, your focus should stay on the shooter-defender matchup until it's complete. Accuracy begins with discipline, and the eyes need to stay with the shooter. Play 5. Pass crash plays happen fast, and they demand teamwork. In this clip, blue number 3 drives past the primary defender and makes a pass just as a secondary defender steps in, trying to draw a charge. Coverage starts with the direction of the pass. Here, the pass goes toward the center, making the center responsible for the pass itself and any perimeter activity that follows. The contact in the lane, especially when it deals with a secondary defender, is primarily the lead's responsibility. However, if the trail official has the better look, they can take the ruling. In this case, traffic in the lane obstructs the lead's view, and the trail has the best angle to see the entire play. That means the trail becomes the primary on the crash. The key to this play is crew awareness and trust. When the lead recognizes limited vision, they must be patient and rely on the partner with an open look. The trail, for his part, must recognize the situation and be prepared to assist if needed. Because the pass went away from the trail has responsibility to stay with the crash. In situations such as this, they need to be prepared to make the ruling. Proper coverage isn't always about the coverage area. Sometimes it's about angles, teamwork, and doing what it takes to get it right. Play 6. This clip showcases excellent court coverage and rotation mechanics. The trail has an open view and stays with the ball handler-defender matchup in the midcourt area. Once a pass occurs across the basket line, the center assumes coverage of the players above the three-point arc. Once that happens, the trail correctly gives up the ball and shifts their focus to matchups in the lane area. This prevents 4 eyes on 2 players, which is an outstanding display of discipline and awareness. The center initiates a rotation and becomes the new trail. He picks up the dribbler and defender in the midcourt area. The center makes an excellent position adjustment to maintain an open look between the 2 players. As the center moves toward the division line, the lead recognizes the situation and completes the rotation by moving across the lane. This is team officiating at its best: communication, anticipation, and a rotation that keeps every matchup properly covered. All 3 officials demonstrate excellent teamwork and position adjustments, the kind of execution that likely occurred due to a strong pre-game conference. Play 7. In this clip, black number 0 advances into the front court, and this trail official in a crew of 2 makes a great initial position adjustment, creating an open look between the dribbler and defender. When black number 1 receives a pass in the midcourt area, he is in the trail's primary coverage area. Instead of staying engaged with the new dribbler-defender matchup, the trail shifts focus to off-ball activity in the lane area and steps down toward the end line, momentarily leaving the on-ball matchup uncovered. The trail should have worked the arc and moved toward the basket line to get an open look between the defender and ball handler. The lead does an excellent job mirroring the ball and adjusting his position toward the sideline. However, the lead is forced to officiate outside his primary coverage area on this play. The lead does not have a very good view of the matchup as other players in the lane are obstructing his view. The trail does pick up the player later in the sequence, but because he didn't work the arc, he did not have the best angle as his view was obstructed by other players in the lane area. This play highlights why proper coverage matters. Most missed rulings come from poor positioning, not poor rules knowledge. As trail in a crew of 2, stay connected to your primary coverage area, be active, and work the arc to get an open view, because good floor mechanics give you a better chance to make accurate rulings. Thank you for watching this training tape.